Hello and welcome to KCC TV episode 9.
How did that happen? Episode 9.
I know, and it's almost exactly a year ago that we put out our first ever episode of KCC TV.
Excellent, and I'm so excited about this episode. Spring's here, back out on the bikes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What have we got coming up, Karen?
First up, we've got an interview with Ben Granger, a local cyclist who's turned professional.
Following that, we have a piece introducing the new committee following quite a few people joining the committee at the AGM last November.
Then we've got an update on what's happening with active travel in Kendal.
And then we've got a recipe of the month, which we haven't had for ages, and Christine Fisher shares how to make some really delicious savoury flapjack.
And then we've got a short film about how to do chaingang.
And following that, we've got last month's Climb of the Month winner, which will be pulling out the hat, and a new challenge for the month coming.
And then, as always, we'll finish with a little bit of KCC news.
So first up, we have an interview with Ben Granger, who started cycling with Kendal Cycle Club and is now riding for Zappi on the continent.
But we've got a bit of a problem, haven't we, Ben? Or a couple of problems.
Well, there's a couple of things we could talk about here. The first is we've got Jake Edwards, who did a fantastic job of interviewing Ben.
And if you don't know Jake, he works at Mapdeck as an apprentice. And I think our positions as presenters might be at risk.
Absolutely. We're a little bit worried, Jake, you did such a good job. And for me, of course, I remember back in the day when, Ben and I used to go head to head on a few King of the Mountains. And, there was a time in the past when I had a slim chance of maybe getting one back when he took it off me. That ship has sailed.
Absolutely, yeah.
As we will see in this next piece when we see Ben riding with Pro Team Zappi.
Hello everyone, I'm Jake, and today we're here with who some would call local hero, Ben Granger. Would you like to give us a bit of a synopsis about yourself, Ben? Who you are, where you come from, what you do?
I'm from Natland. I'm a cyclist for Zappi racing team. I've been riding since I was 16. Started riding with Kendal pretty soon after I started riding. And now, I spend most of the season in Italy racing for the team.
And when did you start racing?
I started racing pretty soon after I started riding. I'd have been 16. So the first races were in 2017.
And where were you racing at? Was it around Saltaire, local crits, stuff like that?
Saltaire, to start with Saltaire, doing the 3-4 races, where kind of, if I got a top 10 result, I'd go home pretty pleased. And then road races on the local circuits like Old Hutton, and then eventually further and further afield.
And what would you say to people who are sort of interested in road racing at home? Do you recommend they get into it, or is there anything better they can do?
For me, I've always really enjoyed road racing. It's my favourite part of riding a bike, really. Saltaire is always a great place to start, and then as like an entry level, and then to branch into road racing from there I thought, quite a good way to do it.
What's your most recent race been?
My most recent race was an Italian national level race a couple of weeks ago out in Italy, which wasn't. I had a mechanical, so it wasn't the best of races. But no, we were in Spain at the start of the month, raining in one of the only wet days in Spain.
Would you say you prefer an aero bike or a lightweight bike?
For me, I think I'm quite biased as a racer, but aero is definitely what I'd normally opt for. We're on the Factor 02s, which are the climbing bike, which are really, really nice. They feel amazing to ride, and the climbing bikes, the lightweight stuff, does feel really, really nice. But there's something about the raw speed of an aero bike, and not just the bike, everything kind of aero positions, aero setup. It's quite on trend, but I think it's on trend for a reason.
Right then, Ben. So you like an aero bike, but do you also like an aero helmet and stuff like that?
So this year the team's on Force helmets, and we've got a more of a lightweight helmet, which for racing on the continent is really good because you don't want an aero helmet. They're lacking ventilation, they get really warm and stuffy inside. So the lightweight with the vents in is much nicer, I think.
Cool, yeah.
Siamo con il gruppo dietro, distacco dicevamo di 1.54 sugli atleti della Old Zappi che stanno cercando di fare l'andatura ora in testa al gruppo. Si tratta di fare l'andatura di Ben Granger che sta cercando di fare l'andatura, gli atleti della Cattoli ora che cercano di portarsi davanti, non hanno
And so what does your guys' training week look like out at Zappi's?
We usually we race virtually every week, so we'll build the training week around the race with usually a taper into it and recovery after it. It's usually sort of 18 to 22 hours in the week. A lot of group riding and chain gangs and race simulations during the week and stuff like that. But usually hard, intensive, a lot of intensity during race season.
Cool. And do you like that intense stuff, or?
Yeah, I do. I think especially when you're in a group, it's always fun to be pressing on, kind of whenever it is really. If you're just doing a long steady ride, it can get a bit monotonous in the wheels and stuff like that. So it's always nice to have a bit of a smash up.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking of pressing on, do you have a favourite KOM?
Oh, I do. It's quite an easy one actually. Kirks and Pass from Troutbeck is my favourite. I think because when I first started riding, that was like the one main climb I did, and you sort of saw the leaderboard at the start, and it seemed quite unattainable to ever be near the top 10. So then last year to actually go and get it was felt quite nice.
Now then, Ben, obviously you came into cycling a little bit later than everyone else, but do you have a first road race win that you remember?
My first road race win was 2019. The Bob Swales road race that Kent Valley put on up on the Old Hutton circuit, and that is quite a pretty day actually. That's a photo of me winning it with my arms in the air.
Looking very handsome.
But yeah, no, it was a circuit I'd come second on earlier that year, so it was quite nice to win there.
Now Ben, as Cold Dark North does describe you very often, you are a local hero, and the people watching might be interested to know, have you got any advice for them in their cycling?
Really, just get stuck in as much as possible to every discipline of the sport, as much as you enjoy. If you enjoy riding, ride as much as you enjoy, and yeah, throw yourself into everything.
What a brilliant film, Ben, and I can see exactly why you ain't going to stand a chance of getting Naked's KOMs back.
Absolutely. Great to see Ben riding actually out there in Italy as well.
Yes, absolutely. Next up, we've got a great film, Meet the Committee. That's our regular feature, but we're not just meeting one committee member this month, we're going to meet the entire committee. Because just before Christmas there was the AGM and there were quite a few new faces onto the committee, and so this is a chance to find out a bit more.
Hi, my name's Simon Horsley. I'm the chairman of Kendal Cycle Club, a position I'm really privileged and honoured to hold. My key goal is to keep advancing Kendal Cycle Club. Ideally, I'd like to make Kendal Cycle Club the best club in the country, where we're providing continuous development, continuous enhancement and skills, broadening the skills and awareness and knowledge for all of our club members. So my number one aim is to make sure we set clear direction for the club and set clear direction for the committee. Secondly, it's about helping the committee achieve all the goals that we've set out, so removing obstacles, making their jobs as easy as possible. And then thirdly, motivating and helping inspire the committee to go on and achieve great things for the club, and obviously I'd like to inspire all our members to achieve their goals and to get what they believe to be the key value they're seeking from the club, and to encourage many others within our local community to join Kendal Cycle Club.
Hi, I'm Daniel Craighill. I'm the club treasurer. My role involves taking care of the club's income and expenditure and also preparing the club's financial annual accounts.
My name is Will Beck. I am the club's secretary. My role on the committee primarily is managing the meetings and taking the minutes, but I'm also looking after organising some of the data and the documents that we as a club have to manage since we're now 700 members and need to be organised.
My name's Christine Briggs. I'm the Women's Secretary and I'm here to encourage ladies to get on their bikes.
My name's Rory Black. I am Comms and Junior Secretary for Kendal Cycle Club.
Hi, I'm Helen Jackson and I'm the Race Secretary of Kendal Cycling Club. I'm here to promote and encourage you to do racing of all disciplines: men, women, children, mountain-bike, gravel and road.
My name's Simon Frost. I'm the Male Welfare Officer. Together with Christine Nelson, we look after any welfare issues that we might be alerted to within the club.
Hi, I'm Christine Nelson and I'm the Female Welfare Officer for the club. What that means is I act on behalf of all members for any safeguarding measures and can be called upon for advice or assistance in anything that they feel they may need assistance with.
Hi, my name's David. My role on the committee is volunteer coordinator. What that really means is allowing all the members of the club to take part in supporting all the many events we run.
Hi, I'm Ian Childs and I'm lead coach and help run the junior section at the cycle club. Both roles involve looking after the coaches and making sure that they've got all everything they need to participate and help the youngsters and adults make the most of their cycling.
So hopefully that lets you know who's now on the committee, and if you see them out cycling or if you see them at a club ride, you'll be able to go and talk to whoever's responsible for the various different parts of the committee.
And there's a couple of vacancies, so if you fancy getting involved in the committee, then get in touch with Simon, I'm presuming, chair at kendal.cc.
So next up, we've got an update on active travel in Kendal. And Karen, this is something I know you've been doing some work on and campaigning around. So do you want to just tell us what's been happening recently?
Yes, there's been a thing called the Local Cycling, Walking and Infrastructure Plan, the LCWIP, as we tend to call it, which is basically, it's a plan that we have to have in place in order for the council to go and get any funding for cycle infrastructure, because there's no budget for this, so they have to go and bid for funding. So I've been involved in representing the cycling community here in Kendal, and I've gone to all the meetings and I've tried to convey what we think good looks like in terms of the cycle infrastructure. And that plan has, the final version of it went to the County Council a couple of weeks ago for approval. Personally, myself, and I know a number of cyclists didn't think it was quite as ambitious as it needed to be. So a big thank you to everybody who got involved and emailed their councillors and put in public questions. It was an unprecedented amount of public consultation around that, so thank you very much. The plan has been approved, and at the meeting, one of the good things to come out of it was that the council committed to the fact that everything that was going to be built from now on was going to be inclusive and accessible for all, which we know is really important, so that everybody feels that they can get out there and ride, particularly for the Wheels for All, or for people who maybe just aren't confident cyclists and need to know that the infrastructure that they're cycling on keeps them safe. So that's all very positive. Perhaps not so positive update is that in the past couple of weeks there has been a new piece of infrastructure or improvement to infrastructure put in. So I don't know whether you know, from Burton Road to Natlam Road, there's the off-road cycle route, pedestrian and cycle route, and that has been paved now because it was a bit of a rough and ready surface before, which made it difficult in the winter and the mud and stuff. So now it's been nicely tarmacked. The only problem is, I didn't think it was particularly accessible. It's got a very steep slope. So we sent Pete Aylward out to have a look at it and to measure the gradient as well. So what I'd like people to do is, as they're watching this film, is to just imagine that they are either in an adapted cycle, so they're part of Wheels for All, or perhaps they're in a wheelchair, or perhaps they've got a double buggy and they're trying to push a double buggy, or even I saw a little girl the other day, obviously very young, learning to cycle. She fell off going down the slope. And I've tried to cycle back up it twice and I've not managed to. So it's disappointing to see that the first piece of infrastructure that's built doesn't actually meet the accessibility promises. And Pete measured it at 26 degrees, or 26%, 26%. So Ben, you've climbed a lot of steep slopes in your time.
That is steeper than Rhinos, that's steeper than the Struggle. That's a pretty steep bit of tarmac.
That is a really steep bit of tarmac, so I don't really think, I don't feel quite so bad now about not being able to climb up it. Maybe we should have Climb of the Month up there one time.
Yeah.
So you can get up there.
Well, that's, it's really good to know what's going on, Karen, so thank you for the update. So what can people do to help the situation?
Yes, we've got local elections coming up at the start of May, so it'd be really good if everybody could keep the conversation going. So there's going to be a lot of people knocking on the doors, trying to get people's votes. So we need to let people know that this is really important. Don't be afraid to actually say to people, what's your stance on active travel and what are you going to do to actually make sure that this happens, and also that everything that is built is accessible to everybody. There is so much potential in Kendal. It's a small town. We shouldn't have to drive short distances because we don't feel safe or we're not able to cycle on the provision that's provided. So the next call out to everybody, this is the start of a very long journey, I'm afraid. The next call out is to let's keep this debate going on the doorstep and at the ballot box.
Well, as cyclists, we are used to starting long journeys. So,
we are, yes.
So there's nothing bad about that. Karen, thanks for all the work that you've been doing, campaigning. And I know you wrote a great piece on your blog that we'll share that just explains to people what's going on. And that was a really, really good explainer, I thought.
Right. We'll put the link below, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
So next up, we have a recipe of the month. And Christine Fisher shares a wonderful recipe for savoury flapjack.
Hi, I'd like to share my savoury flapjack recipe with you. It's something that you can use on longer rides over the summer. I'm thinking of training for things like the Fred Whitten or longer sportives, and you're getting fed up of all the sweet stuff. Just fancy something savoury, so hopefully this will be useful to some of us. The ingredients I use for the flapjack is a slab of butter, 2 eggs, finely chopped red onion, some grated cheese and enough oats to soak up the mixture. First of all, I melt the slab of butter over a gentle heat. Next, I put in the onions and cook very gently just until they're soft. Then you can remove from the heat and add some oats to cool the mixture off a little bit before adding the cheese and eggs. Stir it round well to melt the cheese. Add your eggs beaten up. And then add enough oats just to make it a nice thick mixture until they're all absorbed. So next you transfer the mixture into a baking tin. I put greaseproof paper in, but you don't really need it because there's enough fat in this for it not to stick. And press it down firmly. Help it all stick together. The egg helps it combine. And then all you do is put it in the oven. A moderate oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's golden. Okay, so this has had about 18 to 20 minutes in the oven. I can see it's done because it's brown around the edge. Now this extra egg on top you can just pour off down the sink and then leave it to cool off, and when it's cold cut it into pieces. I actually let the egg absorb into this because there wasn't much and it'll help to keep it moist. So when it's cooled enough, you just cut it up, wrap it up in a bit of foil, pop it in the fridge and then take it out when you're ready for a ride.
Well, I think that flapjack looks delicious.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Ben. I'm really sorry. And I'm really sorry, Christine. But I have a problem with things that are usually sweet that are then savoury, like cheese scones, cheese flapjacks. It's probably very nice, but I can't actually bring myself to eat it.
See, I love a cheese scone, and so I am looking forward to making this flapjack, and I'm going to actually take some out on the road and try it out, because sometimes I get sick of all the sweet stuff. So
yeah, actually, sometimes you do need a bit savoury, don't you?
Yeah. So thank you, Christine, for that.
Next up, we're going to talk about chaingangs. So this is something you may have heard about when you're out on a club ride, but knowing what it is and being able to do it is, something that's very important. Ben, when would you chain gang?
So, usually a chain gang is something you might do when you're on a flat piece of road and you want to move efficiently as a group. So often it allows you to ride perhaps a little bit faster, a little bit more efficiently, making the most of the draft. And it's a really useful thing to do on certain stretches of road where you've got a fairly sort of straight, open bit of road that's easy to ride on.
Yeah.
And what's great about this is, not everyone always knows how to do a chain gang really well. Tim's made a really short, easy piece that explains it.
So that's a great little film, Ben, isn't it, about how to do chain gang? And you wouldn't do chain gang up or down a hill, would you?
Well, there would be not a lot of benefit doing it uphill because there really wouldn't be a lot of drafting. And I think going down something steep might feel a little bit scary as well. So this is definitely something that, in my experience, you would do on flattish terrain. It's certainly something that can be fun to practice and to build up your cycling skills if you're not used to doing it.
But talking about hills, it's Climb of the Month time.
Yes. We have, so first of all, we have the entrance from this month's challenge, the last Climb of the Month, and all the names are in the Shrek helmet here. So this is to win a £50 wheelbase voucher. So our friends at Wheelbase are sponsoring the challenge. So whoever gets pulled out the hat will get a £50 voucher to spend in store at Wheelbase.
Shall I do the honours?
Go for it, Karen. Pull one of the names out, see who we've got.
There we go. It's Rich Wood. Congratulations, Rich.
Rich, congratulations.
A £50 wheelbase voucher will be winging its way to you. So, this month's Climb of the Month. Spring is here. I know everybody is desperate to get out there and start their climbing season. So, what have we got this month, Ben?
Well, this month, Christine Fisher and Shah Dixon are going to take us up and down and back up again, Gummers How.
Hello, and this is the Climb of the Month for KCC. We're at Boreham Bridge. We're going to climb up Strawberry Bank, down Gummers How, turn around, come back up, and back down.
And admire the view at the top.
Definitely. Admire the view at the top, yes.
And just remember that you don't have to do both the climb both ways. You can either do it up this way and finish up at the top and just admire the view and come back down. Start at the other side and come up, admire the view and go back down, or do a combination of both. So it's not compulsory to do both climbs. 3 sets of 4 minutes from here.
Done the fun bit coming down Gummers How, we just turn around now and go back up.
Alright, well congratulations if you've got this far, you've got to the top. So now you can roll down this side or roll down the other side. Make your way home.
What a great route that is, Ben. And I think we're just desperate to get out now, aren't we,
Yeah,
all on our bikes?
What a great day they filmed it on. Let's hope there's more of that to come.
Yeah.
So, as ever, if you want to get out there, you can ride Gummers How one way or you can ride it both ways. Either way, you'll be entered into the draw for a prize in the next episode.
And if you want to see whether you've won the prize, which will be a £50 wheelbase voucher, don't forget to like and subscribe and press the bell notification, and then you will know immediately as soon as we've done the draw next month.
So 2 pieces of KCC news just to wrap up the episode. The first is a reminder that there are a couple of vacancies on the committee, as mentioned in the feature previously.
And if you haven't already signed up to the Spond app, please do that now, because that's how all the communication is being done around the KCC committee and all of the different rides.
So thank you to Ben Granger, Jake Edwards, Christine Fisher, Shah Dixon, Tim Price and Pete Aylward for all their contributions to this episode. And thanks to Mapdeck Cycleworks for letting us use all their equipment, and to Wheelbase for sponsoring our Climb of the Month. It's been a great episode. It has. I think we should end by our normal plea for next time. We're going to need a Climb of the Month. We're going to need recipes. We're going to need what our bike means to me, anything really. Any contributions, any ideas you have for features that you'd like to see or contribute, then do get in touch and let us know. And how do people do that? tv@kendal.cc. And of course, like and subscribe. And I think that's it, Ben, isn't it? We will. We'll see you next month.